What's going on, everyone? So, first of all, I know the title says Bleach, and I will get to that. I want to get to that. But, I want to cover Burn the Witch first, because the two tie in together. If you don't know, Burn the Witch is a one-shot manga, or one-shot in quotes, that is going to be released tomorrow in Japanese, and in about 2 or 3 days for the English public, it'll be translated and released. It is written by the same guy who wrote Bleach. And that's not the only thing it ties into. I'll get to that here in a bit. But some of you have seen this picture. Some of you, probably most of you, have seen this one. This got announced about 2 or 3 weeks ago that it was going to be this. And then on the left here, it translates to something about witches, something about London, something about dragons. And so you think, okay, he's making like a fantasy kind of thing in London, you know? This got released, I can't remember when, but this got released pretty soon too. And so you're thinking, what does this have to do with Bleach, Martin? Your thumbnail says Bleach, your title says Bleach. Don't lie to me, woman. Here's what it has to do with Bleach. If I can get to it. If I can get to it again. There we go. That's what it has to do with Bleach. Now, if you're looking at it and you're like, okay, big deal. It says Burn the Witch. Different font. You know, whatever. Look a little closer. What letters are shaded? You got the B. You got this part of the cross. It's an L. E. This part of the W is an A, C, and H. And it spells Bleach. Now, if you're thinking, okay, that's a little reaching, Martin. It looks a little, maybe it's just an homage that Tite Kubo or Tite Kubo, however you pronounce his name. Maybe that's the little homage he did with his new series for Bleach. Well, you would think so, right? You think, okay, maybe it's just a coincidence. Maybe it's not, it has nothing to do with Bleach and Martin is crazy. Until you see this, that also got released yesterday by the same, for the same book, for the same one-shot that comes out tomorrow, Soul Society Western Branch. Now, this is very, very exciting because, I mean, it opens up an entire other world. I mean, it's the same world, but it's like another section of the Bleach world. You got the Japan area where it's the Serete and the Soul Society and everything there, and then you got the Western Branch that deals with their own thing. Now, I don't know if they're going to see Soul Reapers in this. There's a good chance we may not, you know? There's a good chance we won't see any of the old characters again. I personally hope we do. I feel like there's a lot of things that the Bleach audience wanted to see. I don't know when it's going to be, like timeline-wise, when it's going to be. Maybe it's going to be the same parallel as Bleach, or maybe a little before, maybe a little after. I'm willing to bet. I don't know. I don't know if doing it before or after is a good idea, but. There is another shot. There is another screenshot. I didn't save it on here just because it kind of just a close-up of this W and it was broken. It was just a little W. It was It was like cracked on the side, and it said, "This world is not over yet," referencing Bleach, referencing the Soul Society. So, yeah, it ties in directly with Bleach. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's in the same world. I don't know if it's gonna tie in directly with Bleach, but at least we know it's in the same universe. And yeah, this was the one. If you want to see this again, now that you know it has something to do with it, you can see that they're holding like a kind of gun. Both of these, I think these are the two main characters because you see them again here. Oh, not there. Sorry, not there either. There you go. You see them again here. The art is similar to Bleach. You see them again, so you kind of get the idea that they're the main characters. Now in Bleach, obviously they used the Zanpakuto. Which was developed or invented or created by that one guy that you see in the Zero Division, and the Bankai was developed or I guess created by the leader of the Zero Division, or something like that. It's been a little bit since I've read it. In this one, since they're not in that part of the world, since they're not in Japan, they're in London, and I'll get to that here in a little bit too. It's since they're in London, they may not have that. Maybe they just have Kido, and that's why they're called witches. It's because they don't have actual swords. They're not reapers. Maybe they're just witches, because all they use is Kido. Maybe they're going to shoot Kido. I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't think we're going to see the Bankai. I don't think we're going to see Zanpakutos in this series, or at least maybe not directly. Maybe we'll see some characters that do have a Zanpakuto. I don't think Kubo would want to create a whole thing where he has to develop new Zanpakuto, imagine up new Zanpakuto to write about. He probably wants to do something in the world and kind of shift the direction, which I totally get, and I don't mind. It's very exciting. I don't know if this means we'll see a Return of Bleach. This is kind of what the thumbnail was talking about. I don't know if this means we'll see a return of Bleach, because it is this after all. Maybe we'll see this and it'll be made into a show. We don't know. Maybe the Bleach show will come back, like kind of like in Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, where they brought back the series and they retold the first part of the story very, very quickly. Maybe we'll see that again with Bleach, retold pretty quickly up until the Quincy arc. Maybe they'll do the Quincy arc, and that'll give this manga enough time to progress. Toward then they can make this show, which I think is a pretty good idea. I would very much like to see that. But you know, with here's where the thumbnail and everything about Bleach comes in. With the movie coming out, what is it, next week? The movie coming out next week, and the Brave Soul's doing as well as it is. Bleach Brave Soul's doing as well as it is, and the Jump Force video game coming out and having Ichigo in it, manga Ichigo in it, and manga Aizen, manga Rukia. It makes you think, what is he planning? Why are they doing all this for Bleach if it's something that ended a few years ago? Why would they do this again? I really, really hope it means it's coming back, or at least in some way coming back. Maybe they'll just do the live action movies. It's being promoted very heavily in Japan right now, and if it does well, they're talking about doing a trilogy, which I think is a good idea. Maybe doing a trilogy, the first one being what it is, the second and third one being having to rescue Rukia. I think that's a pretty good idea, and I'm very excited to see where Burn the Witch leads us. It is going to be 62 pages long. Like I said, it's coming out tomorrow for Japanese audiences, I think, I'm pretty sure. And the 15th/the 16th for the rest of the world. It's going to be translated in English. It's very exciting. Now you can see if you go to excuse me, if you go to certain Reddit pages, you can see kind of, I think it spoils it. I think someone got a hold of it and they spoiled it. I wouldn't do that just because it's coming out and I kind of want to read it. So if you don't want to get spoiled, don't look too far into it. Just know that it is taking place at least in the same universe as Bleach, and hopefully there's some sort of tie-ins in there, and maybe we'll see a return of the show. So it's very, very exciting. Now, I think I mentioned earlier, let me get a little bit more into the scans, because there is a little bit more about them. Soul Society Western Branch, they have something called Reverse London. In fact, I think that's what this talks about. Either that or this talks about, or maybe even that. It talks about witches. It talks about dragons, and it talks about Reverse London. What I think it is maybe the dragons are their world or their version of Hollows. Maybe it's what they call Hollows. Maybe they're still Hollows. But because it's in a different area and maybe the spiritual pressure is different, maybe they transform into more dragon-like looking things, but they still have masks. I don't know. Witches, I think the witches they basically didn't turn into Soul Reapers. They just turned into high spirit entities, and that can shoot Kido. I don't know. And I'm willing to bet that Reverse London is their Serete, because clearly it says Soul Society Western Branch. Soul Society Western Branch is probably the whole area of Soul Society, and maybe their version of the Serete is Western London. I don't know. All I know is that I'm very excited to see what this turns out to be. But like I said, you can read this in about 2 or 3 days. I'm super excited to see what this turns out to be, and if it's just another story, a different story altogether, and it's actually dragons, it's actually witches, and it has nothing to do with actual Soul Reapers. The fact that it's based, there is a Soul Society, actually makes me want to read this, and I will be reading this. So I'm actually very excited. Who knows, maybe it does tie in. After all, maybe you do see similar characters, and maybe you'll see these characters in future games. So I don't know. But anyway, I was really excited to record this video. I was thinking about it all day at work, and I'm glad I finally got to do it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll have more info on this if you want to subscribe and wait for that, or not, just look it up later. It's up to you. But thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.